Hello, we're here at Planet Studio in Dundee with Mr. Eddie Brown and his amazing accordion collection. As you can see, we've took a few days to set this up. It takes a few days for an amazing collection like this to be set up. Eddie's very kindly agreed to come into the studio and show us this amazing collection. And it's brilliant. So, ladies and gents, here he is, Mr. Eddie Brown. Eddie's going to show you this amazing accordion collection.
Hello, hi. Just like to say that over the years it's been a great passion of mine and also a fantastic hobby. The amount of people that you meet through this situation, the amount of friends and people I've met over the years has been unbelievable, you know. And just one thing leads to another. I all started with like picking up an accordion a few years back, and you just fall in love with it and you just can't part with it, and then before you know it, there's quite a lot of them, you know. So, this is as I say, it's been a painstaking. Some of them have came from like boot sales, some of them have been from auction halls and elsewhere. Some of them have been purchased from people that I've been put in contact with, and believe it or not, there's 2 or 3 that have been actually given to me by friends, which I really most appreciative of. So yeah, this is what's amounting till today, and I'm trying my very best not to have any more, but we'll see how it goes in the future. Yeah. So just a quick rundown of some of the accordions that's here for the technically minded. This is a 1930s organola. This one was made by the company Organola before Honor took over. Honor had had their eye on the prize back in the day and eventually took over Organola. This is an early one that was made by Organola. As you can see, it's obviously been someone's pride and joy at one time, and absolutely amazing condition, and fully restored, and it's a lovely box. It plays really, really well. So that's one of my personal favourites. Well, they're all my personal favourites, but that's a really nice accordion as well.
One of the things that everybody noticed during the last 2 days when we've been setting this up is the incredible chrome work on this accordion, which I don't know if the camera could catch this, but I'll just scan over this just with the camera. Look at it, this is absolutely beautiful chrome work on this accordion, and shows the kind of workmanship that went into these accordions a long time ago. And it's also got the curved keyboard as well. It's a beautiful accordion, really is.
Yeah. Fantastic. Like you say, Graham, the workmanship that has went into this has been unbelievable.
Yep.
We'll move on now a wee bit further on in time into the 50s. This is an innovative box from Honor. This is when they started to change from using just all wood and using other materials like aluminium and things like that, hoping maybe to lighten the weight of the instrument, because if you're sitting with it for a couple of hours, you know. This is one of my very personal favourite. It's a Honor Atlantic, and this one originally came from Bruce Lindsay over in Fife, who sadly is no longer with us, but was a great friend, and I met through the collecting the accordions, and as I said before, like unbelievable people. Like these guys they were so great people to get on with as well. I met Bruce many years ago through another personal friend from Fife, was Bill Shorthouse, and as I say, I acquired this one from Bruce, and it's I wouldn't part with it now. It's got a very distinctive sound to it, and I do believe that these early ones do still have the merino reeds, which was always favoured by the players. If it was an instrument that had the merino reeds. A Honor Atlantic, and just a fabulous instrument, you know. Great sound off them. It was a so distinctive sound. So there we go, that's one. This next one now, this is an accordion. This actually belonged to my father-in-law, Fergie Marshall. This was a box he played through the 80s and the 90s, until right up until he stopped playing in the early 2000s, till he actually stopped playing. This was his main accordion, and it now belongs to June, my wife June, which is Fergie's daughter, and so I'm taking good care of that and looking after it, and keeping it nice and clean and tidy, and taking it out and playing it every now and again, and it brings back such memories as well. We've been in dance halls and that way back in the 70s and the 80s with Fergie and all the family and everything. Okay? So it's one of the first an early electronic box incorporating the electronics as well as the acoustic accordion. You can actually play it's got a full set of reeds in it as well. It plays as an acoustic accordion and the electronics as well. So yeah, lovely instrument, yeah, great stuff. Now, moving on here, this is a wee virtuola, a Honor virtuola. I'm really fond of these virtuolas. I think I've got about 3 or 4 in my collection, and I just fell in love with them. Just a wonderful thing to play. This model here is based similar to the Atlantic on the construction of it. The construction's very similar to the Honor Atlantic. It was kind of innovative in the 50s when they brought them out. Like I say, with this alloy and aluminium construction and everything, you know. So it just made for a good instrument, and even to this very day, they're really popular, you know. Yeah, the virtuola. Fabulous wee instrument. Right, moving on here now, this is Honor Tango. This was a very popular instrument way back in the 30s, which this is one from the 30s. It's been restored and it's in quite good condition, and it plays really well as well, and it gives you that traditional old sort of like dance band sounds when you're playing. It's just got that distinctive sort of old 1930s Honor sound, you know. Quite same again as the other one with a chrome grille, albeit the chrome's a bit tarnished on this one, but given the age of it, I think it's done really well.
Yeah, it's totally to be expected for the age. The chrome, but even though it's that old, it still looks incredible.
Yeah, that's right. Kind of limited with the voices on it, like you only had like a 2 voice on it sort of thing, you know. But I think in these days it was more about enjoyment and playing and getting on with it rather than having different. In the modern day now, people are wanting big selection of tones off their accordions and everything. And in this day, this basic model will give you a full tone and a single tone for just sort of like lighter tunes and that. So, yeah, a great wee 90s, 30s. The Tango was a popular, and I think it went through about 4 different models before they finished the Tango. You got later models that was obviously different for that by the time we came to the 50s and the 40s and sort of thing, you know. So yeah, a wee Honor Tango, lovely machine. A wee Honor Concerto. This is one for the 50s as well. Still very sought after for young students and people learning on. Same again, just a couple of voices on it. You've got your main voice and your single voice. But we are having the full bass on it. It's a really good instrument for students and beginners learning on, because it's got the full bass there on it as opposed to maybe just 2 rows or 3 rows. It has the full bass which a teacher needs if he's instructing, you know, if he's instructing a student. It's ideal, as I say, ideal beginner's accordion, and they're very sought after these days for the young students and people that are wishing to get involved with it. Great stuff, a wee Honor Concerto. And moving on again, this is a wee Honor Echo, a very basic sort of like, what could I say, like sort of very basic type of San Marino style, you know, with the 3-row buttons and the bass as well. Another box that was probably more affordable by the working man back in the day. The San Marino was always, and to this day is a very sought after instrument, but this was a sort of like a bit of a cheaper substitute sort of thing, you know, and still quite a lot of them I would believe on the go to this day sort of thing, yeah. I agree. And again, it got that distinctive wee Honor sound as well, you know. Moving on again, another 50s one here. This is a Honor Marchesa. Very similar to the student one, but just slightly bigger, but smaller keys or narrower keys. Maybe they were kind of suited for a lady playing it, you know. It's sort of like the keys were slightly narrower, which is confusing if you're playing like standard keys and then you went on to something with narrower, because the spacing is different for your fingers. So they were always sort of like kind of sought after for ladies that we sort of to get involved with sort of thing. Yeah, a Marchesa, yeah, great stuff. Right, moving on here now, we've got this Crucinelli, which was an instrument I bought for a guy that he brought up from London. He was on holiday there and bought it in London. He came up here and he couldn't take it all. He had tried it and everything. He got put in touch with me and purchased that one off him. And believe it or not, it's one of the best wee boxes I've got. It plays absolutely amazing. Just very limited with the voices as well. But Crucinelli was one of the makes in its day as well. It's a fantastic make of accordion, very much sought after So it's one of my favourites. I keep this in the sitting room, just in the corner, and when the mood takes me to pick the box up and play, it's this one I use for in the sitting room, as opposed to going away to the cupboard and lifting out an accordion and taking out the case and things like that, you know. So it's just, it's my wee pal, it's my wee Crucinelli pal, as I call it. Right, moving on, we've got this is a letter accordion, this is a Bugari, and it started off life as a dual accordion as well. It's got the acoustic reeds in it as well to play, and also the electronics as well. Now, what's happened here is the electronics have been a bit dated at one time, so it's had a full MIDI conversion, which is a modern electronic conversion, which means you don't need so much electronics to carry about with you. A small sound module plugged into an amplifier gives you a massive array of sounds like violin, strings, pianos, percussion, and brass sounds and things like that. So it's been fully converted to a MIDI, and it's a fantastic playing machine, you know, and it's less hassles because the original electronics is superseded now by the MIDI connection. It has an LMAP MIDI system, for those who are familiar with the MIDI stuff. Yeah, and Bugari speaks for itself, one of the finest makes in the world ever, you know. It's just a fantastic machine. It's great to play, and it's great to play on the MIDI side of things as well. And here we go, back again, one of my favourites. It's another Honor Virtuola, which is a machine that I love. As I say, I think I've got 3 of them on display today, but this is a Virtuola. You've got a nice wee variation, the voices on it as well, and there's just something about the playing of them. It's just sort of like really comfortable to play, you know. It just sort of, it seems, well, whether it's in your mind or no, but it appears to help you to actually play. If you, in your mind, you're confident and happy with the instrument that you're actually playing. As I say, a Virtuola, as I said earlier with the other one, they're great machines, and they're fantastic for the 50s, and this one obviously has had an easy life. It's in fantastic condition as well, and it's not been restored. That's the condition that I acquired it in. It's in its original condition. Fantastic machine. Yeah. It's got a palm bar as well for your master coupler as well, which is incorporated in the Honor Atlantics, and the Virtuolas seem to be the main ones that have got a palm bar that you just click the bar while you're playing. It takes you right to your master coupler. Yeah, great stuff. Here's another old 1930s one. It's a Savori. It's an Italian make. We just the same again, 2 voices with a slide here. Afraid the chrome has sort of like deteriorated a bit over the years, you know, but it is what it is. It's given the age of it, there's not really many basses or bangs on it, and like I say, quite unusual. There's not really a lot of the curved ones left. Most of the things is a straight keyboard, but this is another curved one as well, like the organola down there. A very straightforward Italian accordion for the 30s. Fantastic wee box as well, and it plays quite well. Okay, good stuff. Here we go. Here's the 1950s. This is a Carina. It's a nice wee accordion. Now, I was given this accordion by a friend of mine, Bob Davies, which I very much appreciated indeed. And Bob had picked up the accordion quite some time ago and had a go at playing, and he fell out of favour with the sort of thing, and decided, I know somebody that would maybe appreciate this for his collection. It would be Eddie. So I'm ever so grateful to Bob Davies for this one, and it's a great playing instrument as well. It plays really well as well. We've gave it a wee tweak and a wee tidy up and everything, and it's now in nice playing condition. So once again, it's thanks very much to Bob for that one. This other one, picked this up quite a few years ago. This was the same type of accordion that my father-in-law started with when me and the wife first met and first going together way back in the early 70s. This was the machine that my father-in-law was playing, not this particular one, but the same model as that. It was a Carina model that he played before acquiring an electronic one a few years later. So it's got a wee personal feeling to me as well, sort of thing, you know, back in the early days. I've actually got a couple of pictures of my wife and I in the front garden. My father-in-law's accordion sitting. So as I say, it's the wee Carina is just one that rings home to me, sort of, you know. They're great, but this one's a step up from the other Carina, the red Carina there. This has got more voices on it. It's a larger one. It's got a 4 voice. That's a 3 voice. So it was more of a connoisseur sort of accordion at the time. Fantastic, great wee thing, yeah. So moving on here now. This is a nice wee Italian accordion. It's a fantastic one. I got this in an auction room, and it's a Piglia Campo Numania, an Italian one. And it's not only the design of the bass system is really good, but it's got a really special feature. If I could hold this up and let people see, because it's got the bass strap on this one is actually on a rail, and it slides up and down with your hand, as opposed to a full-length strap that goes from the top to the bottom. So I'm not too sure. I've only saw this on a Piglia Campo. Haven't seen it on any other accordion, but it's definitely like an innovative type of thing, I would imagine, in the 50s and 60s. This one I think is mid-60s according to the serial number. It's a mid-60s one. Again, it's only got 2 voice like there, and but what a sweet wee sound off it. It's really fantastic. As I say, a Piglia Campo Numania. And it's in excellent condition, and it's kind of unusual way. It's different, the different colours of the bass buttons there, but very ornamental, very ornate as well. You know, as I say, it's special with the bass strap on that's a special one. I haven't seen anything on any other accordion. I have seen one other Piglia Campo, and it did have that slide on it as well, but I haven't seen it on any other features on any other. Right, so moving on, here we go. Here's an accordion that was made in America, believe it or not, by some of the Italian people that had immigrated to America back in the 30s and 40s. They set up their own little sort of like factories in America. So instead of importing sort of accordions from Italy over to America, they could make them there and sell them there. Now the story goes with this one that the jazz clubs, which are very popular in America in the 30s, 40s and the 50s, it would appear that sometimes they weren't very keen on button accordion players being in the jazz clubs. So this machine, I do believe, on some of the history I've read on it, it was made to allow the jazz clubs to think that this was a piano accordion, when in fact it's actually, first and foremost, it's a button key accordion. And for some strange reason, they didn't really allow the button accordions into the jazz club. They weren't really seen as a jazz instrument, whereas the piano accordions were. So what they've done was they've done a dual thing on this accordion. They've made a buttons and appears to be piano. But I've not really got a master grip of this playing. I really struggle with a standard accordion, but I do believe that the buttons is the main feature on this, yeah. Like I say, this was made in America, but made by the Italians for the American market, you know, over in America. It's fantastic. It's needing restored. We're going to get around to getting it restored fully eventually, and hopefully get somebody that knows what they're doing with a button accordion could maybe play a few tunes on it. We're hoping maybe later on in the year have another open day as well, and invite other accordion players along. Maybe they could bring some of their accordions as well, and we can make a fantastic day. It's not often we get the chance to show the accordions in the light of day. They're tucked away most of the time, which is sad. We're getting back to this one now. It's another virtuola. This is the one that started it off with the virtuolas for me. This is the one that I call the Green Goddess. This was acquired in Dundee, in a second-hand shop in Dundee. And the lady that handed it into the shop and sold it to the guy in the shop said that her father had bought the accordion for, I believe it was Forbes in Victoria Road it came for originally. It hasn't been restored, it's in its absolutely original condition, and it plays absolutely amazing. And it's a most unusual colour. What we find any time I've had 2 or 3 accordions on show or took them to anything, everybody always makes a beeline for this and go, oh, I really like that green one. For some strange reason, there's beautiful, fantastic, ornate boxes, but they always seem to be drawn to this green virtuola.
Yeah, well, we've noticed over the last 2 or 3 days in the studio when setting all this up, we'll ask people coming in, what's your favourite box or accordion to pick from the whole collection, and everybody, even the kids, and my own kids as well, come right to this green one, and my wife Laura as well. They all seem to like the green. I don't know if it's because it's an unusual colour for an accordion, but yeah, it seems to be a magnet, and people are drawn towards it.
And in the old books, the 1950s magazines and catalogues, where you were able to, you know, the promotional catalogues that they sent out for them, this is a genuine original Honor colour, this green one. So it's original, it hasn't been resprayed or touched up, it's absolutely original one. And as I say, pardon me, it's a virtuola, which is one of my favourite instruments. I really love that, you know. So moving on to this one again, an old 1930s, which kind of speaks for itself with the ornate, the diamantes and the black and white stripes on the single keys. It's a Cooperativa, Italian, one of the finest Italian makes, and it was a very much sought after machine. And when you saw real connoisseur players on the telly back in the 50s and the 60s, it was all these type of machines that they had, or if you saw a picture of an old dance band for the 40s, there was always somebody with mother of pearl Cooperativa on it. Just an Italian accordion, then again made to a great standard in its day with fantastic mother of pearl keys, and as I say, the finish speaks for itself. A fabulous instrument. So that's about it. And then back to this one now, finish off with this one. This is a personal favourite of mine. This is a Honor. It's a Honor Merino from the 1930s, and I acquired this quite a few years ago. Although it's in very good condition, it's badly needing tuned. The tuning is quite out on it. So I've had a word. My friend Gordon Patillo. Gordon's one of the world's finest players, without any question or doubt, an absolutely amazing accordionist. And Gordon has now took up, he's repairing accordions and tuning them, and might add, what an amazing job he's making. Some of the things I've saw on the internet that he's put up, accordions that he's worked on, he's made a fantastic job. So we're going to get this one out to Gordon eventually. I've spoke to Gordon, and he's quite happy to take it on board and get a full tuning on it. It's a very much sought after Honor with the Merino reeds from the 1930s. It was one that was really sought after. So I'm looking forward to getting this fully tuned up and, as I say, get it in a playing condition and get 2 or 3 tunes out of it and see how we go. So a wee visit to Gordon will be on the cards, I would imagine.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And I see you've set up 2 or 3 books over here.
Yeah, we've got some books and some memorabilia. It's getting difficult to get like pamphlets and books and sales brochures from the 50s and 60s, but this is just some of the collection. They do have some more as well, but I just decided to put some of them on. It's just some of the accordions that's on display are actually featured in some of these these booklets. There's like as you can see, it tells you that there's an Atlantic and you know, a little button accordion, and there's a 3-row and sort of thing, you know. There as well, 2-row. It's got and it's the good thing is it's got the prices from like the 50s and the 60s, and when you compare it to today's prices, it's unbelievable, you know. A couple of great books by Rob Howard, absolutely recommend them. A fantastic reading in them as well. He goes into great detail and about some of the Scottish players, past and present. There's some fantastic, you know, just they're great wee things to read through now and again. And this as well, I picked this up in Fife many years ago. I was one of these auction rooms in Fife. It's the man himself, Jimmy Sand, didn't say any more. It's got a wee prominent place in my wee music room that hangs on the wall there. So I brought it along today to put on display. We've also got 2 or 3 little miniature accordions as well up here as well. Well, I'll start off with the Brandoni. This is the one that I use every day myself. This is the one that I've been using. It's full MIDI as well. It's a Super Musette, and it's absolutely amazing machine. It's Italian made, and I just absolutely can't see past it. It's one of the best instruments ever, you know. And it's a compact size that suits me, because I struggle a bit with the larger accordions. So that's my main accordion that I play all the time. Moving over to this one, this is a Honor Double Ray. 1940s, an original one. I actually use this when I'm out doing a wee, if I'm doing a wee thing in some of the clubs or that, I usually play a couple of tunes on that, because it's such a nice wee instrument and it really deserves getting played as well. They all do, but it's difficult to get in, to play them all, but I play as much as them as I could. But I do, it was a little button accordion that I started with back in the day, and it just progressed onto piano accordions. But I'm self-taught. I just taught myself. I don't really recommend it to people that are wanting to get serious with accordion. I really recommend that you find a good tutor, somebody that's a professional accomplice, because when you're self-taught, you pick up really bad habits, and it's very, very difficult over the years to drop these habits, you know. It's highly recommended that if you're interested in accordions, do go and find a tutor, somebody that's very prominent at lessons and things like that, and learn the proper way from the start. They'll learn you everything about the instrument, and then how to read the music. And as I say, I'm one of the older players that they call it, play by ear sort of thing. You just hear a tune and then just mimic it sort of thing. But it's definitely, without a doubt, the best thing to do is to get a tutor and learn. If you're serious about the accordion from a proper teacher, I could highly recommend that. There's a little single row Vienna accordion. It's a Honor one as well. Just a straightforward single, two note on each button sort of thing. A very basic. It was one of the early sort of like bothy style accordions back in the day, back in the 40s and the 50s in Scotland. And that's Honor Mignon 2. This one there. The grill should actually be chrome, but it's been painted up. That's a Honor Mignon 2 as well, with that original chrome grill, but the chrome has faded a bit. Now this is small. These, by the way, were toys, actually sold as toys in the 1950s for the kids as an early entry sort of thing into accordion. Back in the 50s, when you couldn't get enough of accordion thing, the TV was going great guns with the White Heather Club and things like that, you know. So it was very, very popular in the 50s, and these little toys made a very, very good standard, might I say, in the Honor factory. They were great little instruments. They were given for a Christmas present, and if you developed onto it, then it moved you onto a bigger thing. Or if it just became a toy that you never really were interested in, you had amusement out of it for maybe a certain length of time. And yeah, and a little Italian sort of class as a toy as well, sort of thing, you know, from the late 50s, early 60s. And yeah, it's just a small. I have a larger collection of the small miniatures, which are easier kept and they didn't need so much room. But I've put on just some. I brought some along here, a half a dozen of the small ones there. So yeah, that's about the collection, as I say today. You know,
it's such an amazing collection. Eddie, thank you very much for coming along to Planet Studio today with this incredible collection of accordions. I believe you've been kind enough to play us out with a couple of tunes before we go. Again, thank you very much. It's been an honour and such an incredible collection.
Well,
okay.
Thank you very much for having me, Graham. It's been a pleasure, and as I say, it's not often we'll get a chance to. It's sad that some of these accordions are locked away for such a length of time, but I'm maybe really hoping in a couple of months' time, when after the COVID things lifted a bit, you know, when we're being able to be a bit more social with things, we could have an open day, and everybody would be welcome that's interested in anything accordion, you know, and it doesn't have to be an accordion player. Even if you're interested in accordions, the instruments itself, even if you're not a player, you'd be welcome to come along that day, talk about them, and you know, and just have a great fun day, have a cup of coffee and a wee blather and everything. At Planet Studio, you'd be made welcome. But we are planning another day. Hopefully we could have that. And many thanks to Graham for setting all this up for me today, and doing all the photographic work and video work. And so once again, thanks very much. And as Graham said, we'll play you with a couple of wee tunes. Hope to see you soon again. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.